Hey Walter, welcome back to Beamer PhD. I'm your shop foreman Tim, and today I wanted to make this video to go over your 2004 BMW 330i. I know you came in for the concern for the convertible top. I'm going to show you that in a minute when I lower the car. I also wanted to show you what we found during our inspection in the testing and analysis of the engine malfunction light. So we always do a visual inspection on the car to make sure that if there's anything important that we see, we bring it to your attention, as we don't want you to get stranded on the side of the road. So here's what I found. Starting with the steering system here, I wanted to bring to your attention, I think steering and braking are the two most very important things that we take very seriously because you depend on them. So here on the steering system, I found that your steering rack and pinion boots are torn, and what these boots do is they protect the seal inside of here. And when the boots are torn like this, it has the risk of the seals getting damaged and causing a rack and pinion leak. And we don't want that to happen because this is an expensive component. And as you can see, if you look closely in here, you're already starting to get some damage to the tie rod assembly, which is this piece here. So we're going to recommend that you replace the tie rod assembly. So it has a outer joint and an inner joint. Put new boots on here, and then service the power steering fluid. So that way we can ensure that your steering system is in good shape. Two other things in the steering system, we can see that the mount on the high pressure hose right here is broken off, and that the hose is hanging. We don't want that to happen because this is, again, steering fluid goes through here. We can also see that you got two power steering hoses, one at the top and one at the bottom here, that are leaking, and they're leaking onto the transmission oil cooler. So zero leaks is acceptable in the power steering system. So continuing on here with the braking system, we can see here that your front brake hoses are severely cracked and torn. This one right here is actually coming apart. The danger with that is if these hoses tear any further, it can rupture and you'll lose brakes. We've actually seen that happen, and we want to avoid that at all possible. So we're going to go ahead and get you a quote to replace those brake hoses and do a brake fluid system service. While we're here, we noticed that the sway bar link in the suspension is in really bad shape. We can see here how it's come apart. This is a joint that holds the sway bar to the suspension component, and this is going to give you a really rough ride, if not make some noises, creaking noises. Two other things I want to bring to your attention here. We've got the lower plate, which is the aluminum reinforcement support that goes right here. Has got some impact damage to it, and it looks like it's coming apart. So this is unsafe. We want to go ahead and replace that. While we're in here, we can also see that the oil pan is extremely close to this lower plate, and that's usually an indication that the engine mounts, which are right here, have collapsed and worn. Whenever we see worn engine mounts, we start looking at the other engine mounts, and let me show you what I see on the transmission mounts. So right here are the transmission mounts, and they look pancaked. They're so worn, they're actually shifting. Hope you can see that here in the video. But we strongly recommend that you replace these transmission mounts, because any of the rubber components on this vehicle absorb vibration dampening. So we've observed that the transmission has been replaced on this vehicle. So I don't know if you got a remanufactured transmission or a new one from BMW, but your transmission is in good shape. I want to remind you that the transmission fluid service on these BMWs is 50,000 miles. So depending on when you got this trans, just keep in mind 50,000 miles since then, you want to go ahead and service that fluid. Moving on to another section of mounts in the rear of the vehicle. Brings us here to the differential mounts. So this differential has three mounts, two forward facing, which have some severe cracks to them, and more importantly, this rear one here, which is in really bad shape. I'm going to try to get a shot here to show you. It's actually torn and coming apart. Now, the reason why I bring this to your attention is you got the engine mounts in the front, you got your transmission mounts in the middle, then you got your differential mounts in the rear. All three of these really should be addressed at the same time. While we're on the mount subject, looking at the rubber components here in the sway bar, in the trailing arm bushings, they're also stretched. This is going to cause the rear end of the vehicle to shift while you're driving, and we can see the wear pattern already forming on your tires right here. These are new tires that we can identify, but due to the worn mounts, you're getting some uneven wear on the inner edges of the tire here. So it's going to be important, maybe not super critical, but very important that we replace. We can come back to the differential mount, but the trans mounts and the engine mounts are going to be important that we replace. While we were here, we also noticed that this is the original fuel filter in the vehicle, and that's identified by the hose clamps. These are one-time use hose clamps from the factory, and they still have the Cosmoline, which is the undercoating spray to them. So I'm not really sure how this engine is running with the original fuel filter never being replaced. So that's something that's very important we want to go ahead and recommend replacement on. All right, coming back to the engine here, I want to draw your attention to this big oil leak that we have. This is emanating out of the 3 locations actually. It's leaking from the lower aspect right here at the oil pan gasket. It's leaking from up here at the oil filter housing assembly. Now this leak is really important because it's a pressurized leak. That's where the oil pump first pumps its oil to the filter, so this will actually leak down the side of the motor, and it'll really affect engine performance as engine timing is set by oil pressure. So this is going to be the first leak that we're going to recommend. We may come back to the oil pan gasket leak later on because this is the lowest part of the leak and it has the least consequence. Now let me show you the other leak that I see. I'm going to lower the car, but you see all this oil at the top by the cylinder head. This is coming from the valve cover gasket, and it's leaking onto the oxygen sensors right here. And that's bad because the oxygen sensors detect oxygen coming through the exhaust. They're not supposed to have oil on them, otherwise it can damage them. So on the counter right here, we noticed this filter, this air filter we pulled out of your car. This is the original air filter from your vehicle as we've seen the production date, which shows 2004. So this filter has been in your car 20 years. I'm really shocked that no service center has recommended the replacement of this. Okay, now on to the top side here. You can see that we have disassembled the side compartments here and there to be able to run the harness. We had to take the convertible top off the vehicle so that we can access this wiring harness not only from here but also throughout, which goes over the top. This is what is on the ground here, is the wiring harness that we pulled out. That extra brown wire is the Jimmy rig repair that the previous repair shop, looks like the dealer that you had stated, did. And I believe that is the problem, because what's happening now, if you remember when you were here, we were able to get the convertible top motor to move, but now we're getting a malfunction light. Now that we've installed the harness, I'm not able to get the, I can hear the clicking, but I'm not able to get the top to even come up unless I do it mechanically. So we're going to have to do a little bit of investigation here and see why the convertible top is not coming up. There may be, hopefully we don't need any further parts, but installing the harness, so just to clarify, we installed the factory harness to the connectors that it needs to be, and then now the top is not working. So what that indicates is the repair that they did to the wiring harness, they rigged something, or Jimmy rigged it so that the top partially worked. When you and I tested it in the driveway, we noticed, I unlatched the roof off the cowl top, and I was able to get the convertible top and the cowl to open and close so that they function. Now I'm not able to do that. We'll do a little bit of investigating and finding out what's going on. Let me show you what I see in the engine compartment. So this brake fluid here. And as you can see, it's extremely black. This is supposed to be clear. This fluid is what you're depending on when you hit that brake pedal. From heat, we've noticed that this brake hose, which allows engine vacuum to get to your brake booster over there, is completely collapsed and extremely hard. So once we fix this, your braking system, along with the brake fluid service and those hoses I mentioned earlier, your braking system is going to be restored to phenomenal back to this car. A couple of good points I see. Looks like somebody has replaced your intake boot right here. They've also replaced your strut mounts. Your front struts are new. Looks like the expansion tank for the cooling system has been replaced. History showed that your thermostat was replaced. But as you can see, there's a small little hose here that's missing. This is one of the causes of your engine malfunction light. That hose was completely deteriorated as it's made of plastic. So that's going to be the first thing that we recommend to go ahead and replace in order to extinguish one of the codes in the engine malfunction. The other code that we were getting has to do with vacuum leaks, and that is because, I hope you can see in the video here, this is the top of the motor. This is where I was showing you the oil leak that's emanating from the valve cover here. So after this video, we're going to go ahead and remove this cover and ensure that this plastic, composite plastic valve cover is not cracked. Because the last thing that we want to do is give you a fair price quote on the valve cover gasket, only to find out that the valve cover is cracked and broken. We have seen many of these due to the age of the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and pull this cover to inspect the spark plugs, as well as to ensure that the cover is not broken and damaged. So quite a few things going on with your vehicle. It's going to take us a little bit of time to put these together in pricing. I also want to have a phone conversation with you and see, you know, what was your budget? What were you looking to do? I know when you dropped off your vehicle, you said you wanted to keep this car. But from just guesstimation out of experience, you were looking at, you know, several $1,000s to fix this car. So I'll put together a parts and labor breakdown for you. But I wanted to find out, you know, how much you love this car and what's your why in keeping it. Is this something that you want to invest time and money into so that we're able to help you out? Because once all fixed, you know, this could be a phenomenal car. I know it looks great right now. It's got a few worn internal interior components, but all in all, if we invest some money into these older cars, they'll last a lot longer. The car behind me right here has 255,000 miles on it and still running phenomenal. It's here for AC work. So, all right, that's the update I have for you, and I'll talk to you in a little bit.